How's it going?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You fucking...
You know, just vibing 2020.
You vibing? Yeah. Yo. No more locked doors!
Just at my buddy Joe's house. We're gonna go inside and just vibe out. We'll see you in there. Let's go.
This is the most recent release. And then this one is 132.3 proof, which was the summer/spring 2019, and that's the fall 2019 release.
How do you decide whether or not you're gonna open one of these bottles, or like, you know, because some of these are worth more than others, or kind of more collectible than anything?
It just depends. Like, I'll try them at like a bar, and then if it's something that I really enjoy, then I'll open the bottle.
Yeah.
Like the other day, I went hunting at Total Beverage for like 6-7 total hours for a bottle of Thomas Handy Rye that they hid in the store that they would sell it to you at retail. Which that bottle resells for like $600 on the secondary market, but retail it's like $110.
And it was like a secret hidden thing?
Yeah. Well, like they announced it on Instagram that they hid it, but they didn't tell you where. So I spent like 6 hours hunting. I didn't find it. A couple other people ended up scooping right before I did. And then I grabbed this just because I like complained to the owner. I was like, I've been here like 5-6 hours. Please don't make this a waste of my time.
Yeah, right.
So she let me pick a bottle from the allocated bottle list, and this is Michter's 10. So it's a rare release, 10-year age version of Michter's.
They found the bottle. So was there only one bottle in the whole store?
Yeah. And I went to both stores. I went to the Westminster location, spent about 6 hours there. Then somebody found it. And after they had found it, I went to the other location, the Spirit Spire. On this one, it's very floral as well because rye presents like rye bread notes and very like spicy notes.
Sure.
Meanwhile, bourbon, since it's wheat and corn or corn and rye, a lot of times it'll just have like, if it's a wheated bourbon, for example, these are all wheated bourbons, it'll just have a very like sweet taste, and it requires a little bit more time in the barrel to get some of the oak notes out of it because it doesn't have as much spice already in the blend per
I
se.
think so far I'm definitely more of like a bourbon fan.
Yeah, so I'm definitely a bourbon fan because all of these except for the Sazerac Rye and the Midwinter Nights Dram, those are all ryes. And actually in my Manhattan, I just finished off a bottle of Willet Rye.
Why is that? Because bourbon's smoother, generally, or what?
Yeah, sweeter. Just because rye, so bourbon, it has to be 51% corn or more corn in the mash bill. And rye, it has to be 51% rye or more in the mash bill.
Okay.
The common mash bill is barley, about 10 to 15%, 50 to 70% corn, and then like 20%.
It's basically just alcohol fermented with wheat and other stuff to make it flavored.
So
We start with like basically a basic alcohol, and then like once you barrel it and shit like that is when you get most of your action, right?
most of the flavor, yeah. So,
Because that's why like moonshine comes out clear until you fucking barrel it.
Yeah.
yep.
Barrel age it.
And moonshine's just white whiskey, which means unaged whiskey.
Right.
Like Buffalo Trace, they're the people that distributes most of the rare bottles, like the hard to find bottles. Like these are all Wellers.
Where's white whiskey even distilled from?
It's just, so they'll take the same mash bill, like corn, wheat, and barley, run it through a still, and it comes out clear. It gets
And
the
then
brown color.
re-flavor it, basically, with the same shit.
No, so like they then put it in a barrel and leave it in a barrel.
Aging.
And like by letting it sit in the barrel, it'll pick up notes from the barrel. Depending on what proof you put that clear liquid in, the clear alcohol into the barrel, that also determines on like whether or not it's going to be sweet, whether or not it's going to be oaky and dry and dusty, because the higher
on the wood of the barrel too.
So it has to be new oak for bourbon. There's like a whole bunch of rules. It has to be 51% corn. It has to be aged in
So you don't actually
new
mix
oak.
anything in with the alcohol in the barrel? It's just strictly alcohol and barrel?
The booze that you got. From
That's
your
crazy. I
fucking
never knew that. I
ingredients
thought you
in
put
the
like
barrel.
hops and like wheat and shit in with the alcohol.
No,
And
that's
strained
like
it or some
brewing
shit.
beer and shit. That's different.
Shows you what a dumbass I am.
And then I have one Tennessee whiskey. This was the 2019 Whiskey Advocate of the Year award, just because it's like $35 a bottle. Honestly, most whiskey like lovers hate on this. They tell you have to like open it up for a week, and like pour out a couple ounces, or just leave the bottle open for like an entire day, then cork it up and revisit it in like 2 weeks. Because George Dickel has a very like minerally taste to their whiskeys.
Interesting.
And it's also made in Tennessee, and it's not technically a bourbon. Hancock's is like the least known of all the Buffalo Trace brands that are hard to find. It's also the lowest proof. It's only 88.9 proof. Pretty much everything else from them is 90 proof or above. Then Bland's, everyone has seen the bottle before, the like little crystal bottle. It's the first single barrel whiskey, named after Colonel Albert Bacon Bland. That one's Weller's named after William.
This one, you said
Weller.
this one was a bourbon, right? Let me see if I can get a great video of me being all descriptive and shit.
So that's a wheated bourbon, and then like say this is a standard bourbon. So in a standard bourbon, it's corn, rye, and barley. In a wheated bourbon, it's corn, wheat, and barley.
And what are the flavors going to be different? Like, you saying this one's going to be a lot more sweet?
Yeah, just because like when you think of it, when you eat a piece of wheat bread as opposed to a piece of rye bread, the rye bread has like more spice, more like umami notes. Meanwhile, that like wheat bread,
rye's like a little more
sweet.
sour in a way too, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. But depends on how long you age it. Most ryes are aged like 3 or 4 years, so they're young. And that's one of the reasons.
It's definitely a lot more clear than something like this that's got a little more age on it.
Yeah, so this one's like 4 years old. That one's like 6 to 7.
Right, and you can definitely see because the darker color within the booze. What do you think about that?
Very intelligent, Rick. Very intelligent. Thank you.
Yeah. But meanwhile, this is like fairly light colored, but it's still aged 10 years.
Huh.
And then I have back here, these are Colonel E.H. Taylor's. So Colonel E.H. Taylor was one of the first whiskey pioneers as well. Pretty much all these are named. So Weller, first person who made wheated whiskey. They have the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. So Buffalo Trace uses all the recipes from the pioneers who made whiskey. There's William LaRue Weller, which is the full name of the pioneer. And then the baseline is Weller, and they're all wheated. And then everything else from their line doesn't feature wheat, except for the Pappies. Like these are wheated bourbons as well.
Wow.
Yeah. They have 2 different mash bills. They have like the high rye mash bill, which is the near Lagavulin, and it's the Nick Offerman edition because he gave them so much like free branding through Parks and Rec. And him himself, Nick Offerman, loves Lagavulin, the Scotch.
Yeah.
And I like Lagavulin too. It's super peaty, but I went to go find a bottle of Yamazaki 12, which is a really rare Japanese bottle. And somebody came in 15 minutes before I did, grabbed that rare bottle of whiskey, and I happened to see that on the shelf, so I was like, fuck yeah, I'll go with a rare bottle of Scotch. And then Old Forester 1910, it's not rare, but in 2018 or 19, in 1 month, they sold out of a year's supply of it because it tastes so damn good that people just kept coming back and buying it all.
Yeah.
So this year, they actually made enough to like hopefully supply a full year's worth. But it's, I think, fairly young whiskey. Either that or they just picked more barrels and blended more whiskey to get that flavor profile.
Purpose of the towel is just for dust, or does it affect the alcohol itself?
Dust, and then I don't have to worry about any light oxidation and all that other stuff.
Okay, cool.
And he doesn't have to look at it and want to drink it all.
Yeah, I only leave like 2 bottles out at a time, and they're like Eagle Rare, which is kind of easy to find in Colorado, but it's still more rare than most. And then this is a Buffalo Trace single barrel store pick, so the reps from a store went to Kentucky and picked out a barrel for Buffalo Trace, and we're like, we want that entire barrel. That barrel tastes good. So that's one of the like. Normally, Buffalo Trace is a blended whiskey. Like, you can't filter and say, like, I only want to...
Asian.
It would be cool if it was like porno where you're like, I want a big titty Asian fucking sub girl. But instead you get to see, like, dicks on dicks on dicks, realistically.
What?
Oh, it's like Omegle. It's like...
Well, it's like, it's your choice to pick on, like, click on the profile that has dicks.
Is it called Fetter?
Fet Life.
Oh.
F-E-T-I.
It's not better with Fetter. It gets worse.
You'll occasionally come across some really dope women on there who are down to do some really dope shit. But you'll also like be scrolling.
That's dope.
It'll be like a bunch of men. It'll be like male dom, and then you'll come across like
That's not dope.
female 27 sub, and I'm like, that's the one who I want.
That's dope.
19, so...
Yeah, like, whoa.
Yeah, whoa.
All right.
No age, just his dad.
Yeah.
No age given. How old is this one?
Oh, man.
Hopefully she's 18.
Hopefully.
That's what she said.
Yeah, that's what they always say.
That's what they told me.
Yeah, that's why I never pull out.
Might land a good one.
She might be fertile.
For a second, you blowing on it kind of sounded like you were dry hitting it, and I was like, ooh, that's rough.
Just as rough as they like it on FitLife.com.
As rough as they like it in the booty hole.
A little bit of spit. Yeah, that'll do the trick.
Alright, 1 serving of alcohol in the books. Where do you want me to put my glass? Just wash it off or something?
You can just put it by the sink. I'll take care of it.
When I said cooking nice.
So, are you boys hungry?
Starving.
What they say about a man with a big appetite.
It's all true.
Good, because you know what? You're gonna have the 4-pound lobster, okay? And so are you.
I just have to tell you, I am a huge fan. Dogs of the Sahara is a perfect book, and your acting in it is hospital set.
Terp kill shot.
Seriously, I think you discovered like a new emotion in the movie. Really? Yeah, I didn't know. Thanks again.
Well, what kind of emotion?
You know, it's like he's brave. You know, like right.
What was that?
White dog.
Congratulations.
Damn, you're looking white, dog.
Turn me into a ghost, man.
I think I know who this is. The interior designer who stole your heart. That's right. I hired.
Just move it. Just move it, baby. I like to move and move it. We like to move and move it. We like to move and move it. We like to move it. I like to move and move it. You like to move and move it. I like to move and move